Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this, the latest in the APSWC webinars that we're doing. Today, we've joined with Laszlo Puckzo, who is the CEO and co-founder of Health Tourism Worldwide and the Global Wellness Day Ambassador for Hungary. He has done some interesting research in terms of Wellness Tourism 2030. So the APSWC have brought together a group of industry leaders from across the region, most of which coincidentally happen to be Global Wellness Day ambassadors, to get their input and to see, one, if they agree with him or not, and or where we see wellness tourism come 2030. So, all right, for those who don't know, my name is Jacka. I'm chairman of the APSWC. I will not be actively participating in this event today, though. All right. Also with us is Barry White, founder of Thea Wellness in Hong Kong and Global Wellness Day Ambassador for Hong Kong. Shanette Ivy Gonda, the Spa and Wellness Director from Naman Retreat in Vietnam. Vicky Aquino, the Director of Spas for Tiger Resort Leisure and Entertainment in Manila and Global Wellness Day Ambassador for the Philippines. Edward Wong, CEO of Edes Academy in Singapore and Global Wellness Day Ambassador for Singapore. Sanjay Lama, co-founder of Amantran Spa and Salon in Kathmandu and Global Wellness Day Ambassador for Nepal. And Shay Saran, Chairman of Champay Wellness in Phnom Penh and Global Wellness Day Ambassador for Cambodia. A very warm welcome, everybody, and looking forward to some great discussions. Laszlo, I hand the floor over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew, and welcome, everybody. This really is my privilege to spend some time with you today and discuss a couple of key issues. And Andrew mentioned I would do a short introduction of what the results of our survey and the recommendations are. And most certainly, we are more than happy to have your comments and active discussion on that, since it's very much understood that, first of all, wellness has several understandings and several domains. And depending on where we are, we need to be very careful about how we translate it and how we adapt it. And we believe that wellness plays an important role in travel. And what the challenge is of how to incorporate what we have locally in the service development and the service portfolio. So that's why I'm really happy to have this discussion and the panel today, representing all that many countries and traditions and cultures. So what we will do is that I show you a short presentation, which will trigger a good number of questions, and then we jump in the middle of it and a very heated discussion about all the options and all the directions. So I'm just going to share my screen with everyone, and I hope I hope you can see what I'm showing right now, and just quickly the summaries, and then we go on for the discussion. Right, what we know, and I think it's a very good image, which is called, which says Stravitude as a grumpy mood from lack of traveling. And given the global pandemic, it is very much anticipated that we will have a surge of travel as soon as limitations may be lifted, since there's a large number of people who would really like to travel, and they would really like to just fill the gap what they have because of their limitations. So we do have a crowd who are looking for options, interested. Some of them are loyal visitors, would like to go back to the places that they've always been to. And also people who say that, well, you know what, it's like a bucket list. I would like to visit places I never did, because we never know what the future holds for us. So people are open and they are ready to learn a little bit more. Also, I want to highlight one point, which is how the anticipated risk and sacrifice may change. As you know, when we define demand and expectations, we use one of the models, which is the 3S, which is the combination of satisfaction, surprise, and sacrifice. And yes, pre-COVID, guests typically wanted to have satisfaction of their visits and the services they purchased during. Also really like to be surprised, happily surprised, and they really didn't want to do a lot of a sacrifice. However, it's very much likely that post-COVID, the sacrifice and the perceived sacrifice will grow. The associated risks that any trip may have to the guests will take a massive chunk of the decision. So how we can overcome this shift from satisfaction to sacrifice. We have done that study together with the Wellness Tourism Association and looking at B2B only, of how industry looks at the opportunities and threats and challenges that we have. And I'm just going to show you the results that are relevant for Asia and various parts of Asia, obviously. The anticipation that especially international trips, that's going to be important for wellness, is going to be important for Southeast Asia, and less so for the Middle East and less so for the Far East. That's not a very surprising result, I shouldn't think. But also what we found a little bit interesting, that not the most important answer was the typical, although when we look at wellness motivated trips, Southeast Asia obviously is one of the leading destinations in the world, leading regions in the world, but more like on the somewhat important, so moderately important. And this gives you also not just information, but also an opportunity. Although it may seem that this is not good news, because that's not going to be an important role, but we understand that guests, and then I will link to this in the end, more interested in generally what wellness may be and how they can get a more well experience during the trip. It could be a business trip, could be a beach trip, could be, of course, a cultural trip, whatever it is. So what we call as a wellnessification is the important message here, as you will see in the end results. What I really would be very happy to have your comments, and that is the triggers. As you may know, that when we look at demand and motivation and what triggers that demand and motivation, we need to dig really deep. Often, especially service providers, say that come here because we have a long treatment menu, come to here because we have lovely location, come here because we are going to have lovely food, and so on and so on. So you're giving facts which are important, and they are factual, absolutely nothing wrong about it, but the very core of a decision may be something else. And when we look at the demand, especially when you talk about Southeast Asia and the Far East, they're coming from maybe, and traditionally coming from other parts of the world. And this is when we need to look at what's important, for example, in terms of triggers in Western Europe, what's important as triggers in North America. And this is what I really invite you to have a little discussion. This is just a selection. We can have a longer list of triggers, what really defines any kind of activity of our future customers. How we can collect that data and how we can respond to that data. Talk about self-healing. Is it going to be traditional healing in China, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in the Philippines? Are we incorporating traditional healing approaches? Are we going to sell it as self-healing, or going to sell it under a different umbrella? People want to learn. People are looking for flourishing. People are looking for belonging. Do we provide social experiences, especially after a time when everybody's talking about social distancing, although it should be called physical distancing, because what we really need is social connections, and so on and so on. how are these trigger points going to shape the demand, and how we can work with that or on that with the service providers or destination developers. When you look at growth opportunities, we asked the international panel from 40 plus countries what they believe it's going to, would be important in terms of growth. And if you just look at the guests looking for healthy options, I think that's one of the great opportunities here. Although the pandemic is really creating some really negative impacts all around the business as well as society, now we see that guests are looking for healthy options. They are not wellness travelers, they are not spa travelers, they are just general guests who would be very happy to take on opportunities which are more healthy, or at least they would like to learn about it. This suggests that your guest journey development would need to be revisited, and how it is offered for a DMC, for a hotel, for a spa, for a destination, even for hospitals for the matter. But how are we creating those guest journeys? In terms of facilities, I think that's not just a Far East specific issue. Anything to do with natural resources like mineral hot springs or spas, they tend to be very popular, and they really represent great growth opportunities. I've heard, but again, you know that way better than I do, that the Philippines has been looking at how to develop the hot spring resources. Thailand has been looking at those options of creating even destinations based on hot springs. And don't forget, for example, in Western Europe, hot spring-based services are very developed, whereas North America, they're not at all. So the expectations that guests may have could be rather different. And of course, we shouldn't forget the inter-regional travel, who really have probably a different understanding, which is great, but at the same time, we need to be aware that this is a great growth opportunity. Holistic, obviously not a real surprise. And I just put in here the wellness real estate, which is a major debate about this at the moment. And Barry may have something to say about that, or even the others directly, since it's promoted as a great growth opportunity. But we need to be careful about what is fashion, what is just a short-lived hype, and what is a real content, and what can really drive business and at the same time can create a value for the guests. So that would be a great thing to see how this wellness real estate issue might develop, and would be more than happy to have your comments. In terms of treatments, not surprisingly, therapies based on natural resources and natural traditional healing, there really is a great thing that's happening. And Asia, especially in this case Far East, is having amazing resources. How it is translated into modern services, how it is translated to guests who don't necessarily know about it, or they associate some alternative bizarre thing, this is, again, takes us back to guest journey development. In terms of Southeast Asia, the interesting part is that the segments look a little bit different, more on friends and solo women, which is more typical to North America, for example. But you may want to know that from GCC, not solo women, but solo men are the real growth opportunity for anything related to wellness. In terms of facilities, I'm quite surprised to see the role of medical content brought into the wellness demand and the wellness services, and have a merge of that. We don't even necessarily have a terminology for that. Is medical spa a good one? Because often people associate that term with plastic, non-invasive plastic surgery, or anything to do with beauty only. Although when we look at this, it's really non-invasive or all healthcare related in a wellness or a hotel environment. And the services and treatments are complementary natural medicine and spirituality and fusion and traditional healing. I mean, I'm absolutely sure that you are very much on board with all this, because this is what Southeast Asia really has been excelling in the last even hundreds of years, I should say. Anything to do with traditional healing, natural medicine, spirituality, creating new products, mixing and fusing. These are great. This is just a confirmation from industry that this is exactly what they would like to see, and more of that. And of course, you might ask how those services and treatments can be incorporated into the resort or hotel spa environment, how that can be incorporated wellness real estate environment, how that can be translated into a social demand, as in groups of friends. Do you provide treatments in a space which is, of course, COVID safe, but at the same time allows people to spend time together because they couldn't do it for so long? These are all challenges that we see, but I would like to look at them as opportunities. Just very briefly, because you have a lot of guests coming from Middle East, Dubai, Kuwait, Oman, KSA, they're really traveling, Qatar, traveling Southeast Asia certainly is a great destination for them. So you may want to see what they forecast for that part of the world. And the guest looking for healthy options is a confirmation that it's not just Western or North American guests looking for that. The group friends traveling together and solo men. And see, you can see here the facilities, which is the standard resort spa, but we have the medical spas, we have the medical spas and health infused complexes, health cities for the matter. That's something that the Middle East customers are looking into if they have any end where else than in Asia. When you take home messages for travelers. Yeah, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Laszlo.
Yeah, very good. Just it was a cut-off. Sorry about that. Take-home messages. People want to gain better knowledge. This is our opportunity as well as job to offer that knowledge. Obviously, not very detailed because they don't have time or interest, but they really are interested to know that. What is related to wellness? What is wellness? How you understand wellness? What services do you have there? They think about wellness focus trips, which I say, yeah, of course, everybody does. But now we really have evidence to show that they really are looking into trips. We don't even know what that is, don't know where it is, but it should have some sort of relationship to or with wellness. And of course, they even if they're not wellness travelers, they're looking for wellness contributing options. And this is the big challenge. This is a big task. How we can achieve that, I will come back to that in a minute. So, a couple of messages to trade and industry. Wellnessification, which is looking at the services all across board, the whole guest journey, and try to wellnessify them. We have been running mentoring activities in other parts of the world, discussing the protocols and the guest journey plans and the itineraries, DMCs, hotels, spas, wellness centers, you name it. And we look into small items that can be incorporated into the service offer, which are actually very cheap or even free, but the impact of that on the guests' feeling, or in German it's called well-feeling, how they look at themselves and how they look at what the trip did to them, is going to increase their wellness associations. And that's a great thing, since many hotels, every hotel, every spa, every restaurant, every DMC can do that, wellnessify whatever they have on offer. We also recognize that there is going to be a specialist wellness knowledge expected. It's not enough to say that, we have lovely facilities, we have lovely jacuzzis, and we have lovely treatment rooms. Guests will be looking, as well as trade, is going to look for some insights in terms of where is that, how many people can be treated there, what kind of products are using, are they ecologically certified, and so on and so on. So you need to increase the general knowledge because guests as well as trade looking for that. And interestingly, we can see that the secluded, remote destinations might have better opportunities at the moment, especially short run, which again in Asia it's a wonderful news because you can create this safe environment that guests will appreciate. And this is the interesting thing over here, that at the same time they also would like to see established brands because they believe that that's a safe option for them. So those things happen in parallel. So there's no one-way option here. So just a quick summary over here. I think that's a major shift how we looked at business so far, that you had the hospitality part, you had some healthcare on the side, and you had some spa and wellness on the side. As a satellite, as yes, a nice to have, but it's really changing. And how, when you look at business development and business opportunities, we need to see how the wellness, the healthcare, and the hospitality is merging in creating value propositions. This is, you have to have all those experts on board to create that. You don't need hotel advisors only. You don't need spa operators only. You need a team of all those people to create that is going to be successful already in a mid-term or a mid-run. So we need to be more creative on that and more integrative on that. Also, we need to make some choices. And I would like to introduce you to these 4 directions that we believe we have in front of us. One is the illusion, which is wellness illusion, when we actually don't do anything different, but we call it wellness. And we hope that it's going to do the job, but it's really not really applying what wellness really is and all the domains of the social, psychological, financial, whatever domains of wellness. We have, of course, the wellnessification, as I mentioned, that it's all across board for any service provider, not just wellness service providers, but any service provider. And we can have welltainment, which is wellness entertainment. And I'm sure anybody who has been practicing yoga, for example, for quite some time and may see that you can have goat yoga, so you can do yoga with goats, might say that this is entertainment, this is not serious yoga practice, but that's what sometimes can bring additional people in and they recognize it actually is good for them, but it's more like an entertainment. And obviously we have the eminents, who are wellness eminents, who are focusing on really just a niche of the niche, and they do it really consistently. So, we have options here, and I believe you need to make a pick. You don't really have opportunities that you can do this one a bit, that one a bit, or all of it, because it's not going to go anymore. So, as a summary, we understand that we have the healthy services on one side, and I would like to call your attention to the self-gifting, which in Asia, especially where I'm sure you're all aware of the phenomenon, which is 40 is the new 60. I would like to have your comment on that. So in Asia, we have that the 40 is the new 60. So people who are 40 and can afford, they already behave if they were retired. And that changes the motivation, and they are looking at, let's say, wellness services as a gift, what they deserve. And of course, we have the health tourism part with the medical part on the top and the wellness part on the bottom. We have the non-invasive, invasive, and we have the medical wellness, which is a thing in a couple of Western European countries and certain part of the USA. But of course, it has its own issues because of is it difficult or not difficult to understand and to communicate. And we understand that so far, guests were very happy to have healthy services. And but if you had one, I'm happy to have it. People travel to have medical treatments because they need to. I'm not talking about plastic surgery when often is not a need but a want, but it can be an obsession, it becomes a need. But anyway, typically medical services are purchased on a trip because they need to. Guests need to do that for price reasons, for queues, for licensing, whatever, technology. And wellness, what I want to. It's an individual decision, I want to. And what is changing is that we move from want to here. So now healthy services, from happy to, they move to I want to. And this is a task, because this is one we need to look into, how any kind of service, any kind of offer can be more healthy orientated or health orientated, or offers healthy options. So the market is understood to be growing, not necessarily in numbers, but more like in terms of expectations. But at the same time, that means opportunities to all that many service providers that can really bring in some small scale opportunities. And of course, if you're interested in the marketing of it, there's a little bit of plugging here. We just published this handbook with tons of cases, exercises, tasks that anybody would like to market their medical wellness or health tourism services would find it rather useful, with cases from over 20 countries. So this would be my contribution and my kickoff, if you wish. And I would be more than happy to have your comments, views, and notes on that, because I'm sure not everybody would agree with every single point over here, and you shouldn't, absolutely shouldn't, because the beauty of this business is that we need to be local, especially in the wellness business. There certainly is a market that expects to have services that are similar all around, but I'm more interested in, I'm advocating that we bring in what's available locally. So thank you for that opportunity, Andrew and team and the colleagues. So I would open the floor for questions and, first of all, comments and observations, please.
Can I say something? Hello.
Sure.
Yeah.
Barry. Hey guys. So thank you very much. Awesome. I loved your presentation. It's very, very cool. I did a recent report on high net worth Chinese nationals as well. And it was quite interesting. There's a lot of similarities there. But one thing I just want to mention is the role of wellness and family. And I know, and that's something that I obviously wasn't listed in the presentation. But obviously, you know, in my mind, you know, wellness is not an adult pastime. And certainly during the last year, those family groups have been put under a lot of pressure, and that social connection, the community connection you mentioned also about, and this actually may roll in or echo into the wellness residential complexes as well, and how they are building and creating environments that are not just providing experiences for adults, but certainly thinking about, well, okay, well, what about the children? What about their health? What about their engagement? What about how their role is with nature, maybe? You know, and I certainly believe in that slide when it comes to my area, which is Hong Kong, and obviously this particular area. You know, I am certainly seeing a trend to nature. I'm certainly seeing a trend to a desire for the outdoors, a desire to get out of the city, and it's not just they're looking for a particular service or a little whatever the case may be. It's very ubiquitous, yeah, in terms of what they're looking to make their lives better. But the one thing I do see consistently is that what is there for my family, for those who have a family, what are those there for my family? How can what I do in terms of the activities I engage in, or certainly if there is the opportunity to travel, or if there is the opportunity to do staycations within the environment you're currently in, what is there available to me that can actually, I can, I've been around these people for 12 months. I've been in lockdown for so long. I need to be doing something more than just looking at TV. So anyway, there's just my little comment. I don't know
thank you, Barry. You're spot on. I have to be quite honest with you. And obviously, don't forget, when you have studies, obviously averages and overviews are hiding certain local specifics. And this is exactly the point why we're having this discussion. And I absolutely agree with you that families, especially the micro community as such, certainly can and will become a major point on creating wellness services, but not in the way of creating the 3-generation spa environment, which it may it may suggest that you family wellness, but more like when you create those services and you create your value propositions, you look at the expectations of consuming that as a family as such, and especially with younger kids, not necessarily with older kids, but younger kids in particular. And that's what this whole wellnessification business actually suggests, that we need to look at the guest journey and the guest typology and bring in all those items and puzzle pieces that end of the day would create a better, happier, more balanced, more harmonized experience. But the guests will not use wellness as a word. They're not interested in that. They just would like to have some balancing, harmonious time. And what you said about nature, I'm sure you are very much familiar with the nature deficit disorder concept, when blue spaces, green spaces, whatever colored spaces except white or gray, really are creating a major trigger that I would like to be out and bringing nature in or taking guests out to nature. These are all the tasks that we need to really be thinking about. Let it be real estate, let it be leisure estate, or even hospitality estate, whatever that is. This more balanced provision. But of course, sometimes you need to provide that digitally, because you cannot create the real deal, because you don't have space for that, especially in busy urban environments. But talking about, I'm sure everybody knows the sensescapes. When you are dealing with all kind of senses, it could be colors, it could be scents, it could be taste, it could be shapes, whatever it is, to really initiate the dopamine, initiate the various hormones that in the guests. But this is not it's not just the spa design job. It's to understand the psychology and the biology of guest consumption. So I cannot agree more, Barry. So that certainly is the case. But if you don't mind me saying, most of the business at the moment is not ready, because they never dealt with a family demand or family expectations. They're not ready for that. Obviously, European context, you have amazing examples, which I'm sure you are all very much aware of, in various countries that created some amazing properties, all for families, all of them for families. And as far as I know, in China, now you have a couple of developments aiming at family market. That this is certainly something that we need to look into, how that's going to happen. And the hot spring as a resource is often a good base for anything to do with family-orientated or family-focused wellness development. But at the same time, forget the term wellness. It's not the point. The point is to what it does. And this is when we have this discrepancy between talking about guests who are wellness only focused and guests who are very happy to have wellness improving puzzle items, but they're not wellness demand. So that certainly is a discussion and the development. So I'm happy that you mentioned that. So thank you, Barry.
Yeah, go. Thank you very much for the answer. Appreciate it.
Time is getting away on us a bit here, so we've got lots of other people in this call. So can you other guys do you agree with what Barry and Laszlo have been discussing? I mean, Ivy, are you in coherence with it?
Yes, I do agree, because actually, in addition to what Barry is saying, here in Vietnam, we already have some hotels and resorts, and the company that I am representing, which is Naman Retreat, has already some family retreat programs that we are focusing more on the local tourists right now. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah. So we're focusing more on the local tourists now, and focusing much on the family retreat. So we have diverse activities for the family, not only focusing on the spa, but they do have physical activities like on the beach, playing on the water, or fishing, or kite flying, or we have some famous destination in the local city that they can go to, or they can have some local or traditional activities like making the traditional Vietnamese hat or pottery, something like this that will have family time and quality time bonding as a family. And also, we incorporate that with nutritious food, not only focusing on vegan or vegetarian, but a healthy food that will be served for them throughout their stay.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, and also, in addition to what you are discussing, because on the presentation you have mentioned about family, you have mentioned about couples, group of friends. I would like to add also about the corporate, right? The company who wants to have, because of what is happening now globally, the pandemic, it stresses a lot. So if there are any chance that the corporate can travel, or some have a team building program, so maybe we can add on something to that that can give them some yoga, meditation, or if they have like some company meeting for a night or two, we can incorporate it with some yoga programs or spa programs when they are in the hotel or in the resort that they are staying.
Yes, thank you, Ivy. I think you're very right about that. I think there is just the language that we used, because on that we showed workplace wellness, and you call it corporate wellness. It's exactly the same. Just depending on
Yes.
where you are in the world, the terminologies may be different. But I think we need to again engineer. I use this word very carefully. Engineer those experiences that working towards when you have an incentive trip or whatever that is, or a team building trip, that really contributes to the personal well-being and the social cohesion, and less so on the physical adventure and all that part, because that's typically the case. And you need to convince companies that incentive team building trips do have a benefit, because that has been widely referenced a couple of years ago, that there is no actual impact of team building trips as such, apart from the costs. So we need, we need to re-engineer those services and those packages, and that certainly is a task. So that's why I mentioned that a little bit of hand holding and mentoring of service providers, that could go a long way, because all these wisdoms that you can see all around, the trends this and trend that, I don't know how you see it, but when I work with service providers like hotels, spas, DMs, they said, yeah, I heard about it, but to be quite honest, I don't quite know what I should do about that in my own business in this location. What shall I do about it? And this is,
Can I share something?
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I'd like to share an initiative that we put in place. And this actually came from one of our corporate clients, because they have regular like sales rallies and different types of launch activities. But because of the pandemic, and then in the Philippines, the law is you can only get together up to 10 people. So what they've done, which I think was very, very clever, is that they for their head office, the 10 people were actually on property in the hotel. And then they asked us to help them organize remotely for all the other branches, so that they can still have that main celebration. So what had happened was we collaborated with a technology provider, so that they'll be able to hook up all the different regions and locations that they had all over the country, to be able to participate in a conference. But the conference was actually remote. And what we did was we prepared workshop packages and even the meals. So, for example, if they were going to have, let's say, roast beef and salad and whatever for lunch, so whatever the menu was for the whole day. It was replicated in those different areas, and our main role was to organize the logistics in the different areas. We've never done it before, but because of this particular request, we saw the potential, and that's one of the things that we've started to offer for the corporate side.
Can you put everybody's face up? Because obviously Vicky's got a problem, yeah?
Oh, sorry. Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Yes. So so that's what happened was that there was it actually provided business as well to the local communities that didn't have any, because of course when you go inter-island, you can't send the food to another island in the Visayas or Mindanao. The Philippines is composed of 3 major islands. So what had happened was we looked at partners that we could collaborate with in different islands so that we can replicate whatever it was that we were doing in our property, in those properties. And for the companies, it for them, the headache of not having to organize all of that, someone to do it for them, and still have that feel of togetherness, even though that they were apart. So that was one initiative that was born out of that one. And then from there sprang out curated experiences and events. So even for the weddings, because people can't have the big weddings, so what we've been doing is curating the wedding in the same fashion. So you have a group of people of up to 10. We do it in one of the premium villas, and then whatever is being served to those guests, a same pack will be sent to their special friends in their guest list, and then they tune into the wedding. So those were the things that were happening. That's why and also even for the families, and I really believe that the families is the one that's really suffering, because like especially here in the Philippines, 17 and below cannot even go out. So it's really a challenge for families to keep the kids not only entertained but at least socially, because I mean they haven't had any connection with their friends for more than a year. So it's really challenging. So all those things we've managed to replicate because of that one request, and that one we and I also see in the market that everyone is into upskilling and reskilling, and the popular ones are cooking, planting, arts and creativity, and reflection, like life reflection. Especially in the Philippines being a very Catholic country, before when you talk about Reiki, people were really averse to it. But then when you explain to them that the history of the touchless therapy is actually Catholic based, then they're very accepting all of a sudden. So those are the opportunities that we've found, localizing and then getting others to participate at the same time, and provides for better engagement. So I hope that helps.
Thank you, Vicky. That's a great example. And you can do whatever you can in a situation like this, even if it's not the same. And you hope that they don't check their emails while they are participating in the wedding at the same time. So that's how it goes. But thank you, Vicky. That's a great example. But I think, Sarin, you indicated you wanted to say something, right?
No, I didn't. I just listening.
Oh, I see. Oh, I did just misunderstood. Okay. If there is any no more questions, because I was asked to sort of wrap up soon, I just wanted to ask one question. That what do you think in terms of those trigger points? What is it that really motivates people to have trips that have wellness content? Not necessarily wellness only, but wellness content. Is it relaxation? Is it recharging? Is it escapism? Is it self-healing? Let it be mental health. Let it be reconnection. What is it? What are those lovely terminologies that really can drive business? What do you think?
I still think it's escape.
Mm-hmm.
From urban environments and being.
I think it's escape from what you're doing in your normal everyday life. So you're going on holiday, you're traveling, you're looking forward to. I think we're all looking forward to getting on some form of transportation and going somewhere different. And why is that? I think it's because, obviously this is a unique environment, but even if that when this all changes, and you put a plan together, a vision for the next up until 2030, what are we going to be feeling at that? And I think it's about, everyone's very focused and, doing whatever they're doing in lives, but they're ultimately looking for escapism, to disconnect, and recalibrate, rebalance, whatever different word you want to use. I think ultimately that's probably going to be the driving force.
And if I may add, disconnect and reconnect at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're
often
right.
Reconnect with nature and environment. So disconnect from, let's say, urban life and reconnect. And the challenge is that since the whole world is going to open up roughly around the same time, roughly, so everybody will say all the beautiful things about your own destination, everybody, and it will be such noise. And yes, we understand that people just will get on the first plane or bus or coach or whatever, and they get wherever. Just let me go finally. But then really create your own value propositioning. This is there's the challenge that how you are going to define yourself from this massive load of come here to reconnect and come here to de-stress and come here to do whatever. So we need to, everybody will say that, and of course, Southeast Asia is the place to do all those things, and also Central America going to say the same. Come here to get closer to nature. So what I'm just suggesting that we need to really go beyond that, and after the first visit, when guests reconnected and deconnected, they understand that, okay, I can do more, and there are some other angles to this. And what is the angle that all these properties and all these facilities beyond the general brand message may convey? And guests would find it relevant, personally relevant. And that's a challenge. And that's a good challenge, because then you need to work on your service portfolio as well as your team knowledge and the guest journeys and all that. So that's what, for example, excites me when I work with clients, to really go and rewire. That's the word, rewire what they do and take in all that what we learned in the last 2 years or so. So that's I think it's a great opportunity, at the same time understanding that it's a massive challenge, and really being locked down or closed for that long period for businesses, it's really detrimental, and many of them may not even survive. So we understand the business consequences of that. I need to ask one more time, any other questions or any comments from any one of you? Because personally, I believe I would really recommend to go on and to see how all those beautiful wisdoms that we can see from all these studies can be implemented, and through case studies and through examples, we can show the way how to do it to businesses, as a coalition. So that I'm just offering that I would be more than happy to do even that, when you say that, guys, this is what you do when you do business rewiring and guest journey revision and wellnessify what you do. That's an example, because that can be very inspirational. I'm just saying this because of personal experience that we did in other places. So just offering to anyone, because that's really, really exciting and very meaningful when you can see that, oh, I see, that's how it goes. If no more questions and no more comments, I really would like to thank you for your time and enthusiasm and support, and Andrew in particular. Thank you for the opportunity and the invitation. And I hope that the listeners and your business partners and clients will certainly benefit from it. And if nothing else, you start to think about some other alternatives. That's already a good start. That would satisfy my expectations, that you start to think, because that's inspiration. That's important for me. So let me thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Laszlo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.